more vertical than ball line, and I go right on to ball line pretty fast in my transition.
Yeah.
And then I'm on ball line the whole rest of the swing. About like that, like 60 degrees.
Yeah.
So most good players' downswings are going to be somewhere between those two. We cannot push the club out in transition.
Yep.
Which is super common. People swing it up, they want to go to the ball, so they take the club head to the ball.
Their hands push out towards the ball.
Yes.
It's like everything is moving out over this 11 o'clock. Now you're at 12, and it's midnight. Good night.
Everybody, welcome back out to Superstition Mountain. Today we're going to talk about how to slot your downswing between 10 and 11.
10 and 11.
Okay,
what's 10 and 11?
Well, on a clock, we've got 9 o'clock's basically horizontal, so if I was coming down at 9 o'clock, my shaft would be like this.
Yeah.
10 is something like that.
Yeah.
And 11 is about like that, like 60 degrees.
Yeah.
So most good players' downswings are going to be somewhere between those two.
And we kind of have a channel right here.
Yes,
This is we call it a pizza slice.
Yeah, our little pizza slice.
So we're trying to channel it 10 to 11. We're talking about in the downswing. But do we see any players on tour that are really coming outside of that throughout the swing?
Throughout the swing, yeah. You got in the backswing, I would say for sure. There's a lot of players that are outside this spectrum. You know, you got Matt Wolf, who's
oh yeah,
it doesn't look like it's inside the channel.
He's like 12 or even
yeah
on 1 a.m. there.
he's around. He's circled the clock to the other side.
Yeah.
Then there's definitely players who bring it more back inside.
Yeah. I mean, you look at Sam Snead of old,
and he wasn't nearly like as exaggerated as say a Bruce Litsky.
Yeah.
Who Bruce would have been, his club went in. Ray Floyd.
Yeah.
His club dragged on the ground back to here almost, and then up.
But some of them it's just going with their turn, which is a little more in and around. But yeah, the backswing, we're not as concerned about that channel. For a lot of you at home, getting on this channel though in the backswing could be a big help to you.
Yes. I see lots of players show up and they have this kind of a pattern, and then it leads them to this kind of a pattern where they're definitely never in the channel. They cross it once or twice, but they don't come down it.
Right. So I guess I should preface it then saying that for a lot of our advanced players, being in this channel in the backswing maybe not as big of a concern.
Yeah.
But for you at home, chances are if you're really routing it crazy, super in or arms way out in the backswing, getting just up and down this channel might be a good thing for you to kind of simplify things.
For sure.
Right?
Are there any players on tour who are outside of the channel on the downswing?
I don't believe so.
Even the really steep ones, I would say, are still not as steep as...
And I'm going to turn... And now 10-11, this is in reference to a right-handed player from down the line. So I'm going to turn Phil Mickelson around for these guys so they can see. Even him, who's a little bit on the steeper side. You think of Vijay Singh, a little on the steeper side. Even with their patterns, the club or the shaft is still kind of pointing on ball line.
Yeah.
All right, Milo, so how do we get into this slot? Why don't you get in there and do some demonstrations for us?
We just talked about the backswing doesn't matter that much. I prefer to see my backswing kind of work up the steeper channel.
Okay, so that'd be our 11 o'clock.
So my club head's going to work more up that steeper channel, and then in transition, it's going to fall a little closer to the shallower channel. At least that's what it's going to feel like. Now my swing actually is a little more on the steeper side. It's coming down somewhere more on my shoulder plane, not way down on my elbow or forearm plane.
Yeah, and we could talk about that too, is like basically, relatively speaking, the 11 o'clock we can think of as more of a shoulder plane swinger, whereas the 10 o'clock would be more that forearm. But it's not, I don't believe it's varying this much. This is a fairly large spectrum, but that being said, we get a lot of students that fall outside of that spectrum.
Yeah, way outside.
And when you get outside of this side, you're really steeping across the line, and we've seen some this dumped under, where now you're hitting way behind the ball and your path is way out to the right.
I see players all the time who's trying to get this thing horizontal, basically.
Yeah.
And they're doing it with a lot of body tilting.
Yeah.
And so now that club is, it's nowhere near coming in down that channel.
Yeah. when you got on ball line, so go to the top again. You said when you kind of slot it to that in transition, left arm parallel. Now this guy is pointed. I have it right now just outside ball line, but in your real swing, you're just about on ball line.
Yeah, I don't ever really get off ball line.
Yeah.
I get more vertical than ball line, and I go right on to ball line pretty fast in my transition.
Yeah.
And then I'm on ball line the whole rest of the swing.
And that matches up with these angles, this plane, right? So if you're kind of just outside ball line at that left arm parallel, there you go.
I'd be on the shallower one slightly.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what I feel like I do. Now in reality, I'm more probably right there, coming right down the channel.
Yeah.
We cannot push the club out in transition.
Yep.
Which is super common.
Yep.
People swing it up, they want to go to the ball, so they take the club head to the ball.
Yeah.
Like immediately.
Their arms push out, their hands push out towards the ball.
Yes.
It's like everything is moving out over this 11 o'clock. Now you're at 12. Yeah. And it's midnight. Good night.
Yep.
So, yeah, it gets way out over the ball. Now you got pulls, you got shanks, you got slices with driver.
You got, not much good happens from there.
Yeah, your path is just way out to in.
Divots that look like they're going on a 45-degree angle away from the target.
So for most of you at home, we would much rather see you get back to this 10 o'clock, and it's going to feel like you're at 9.
Yes, so that's the hard part. You're going to feel in your hands and wrists that the golf club is like this. Yeah. For a lot of people, it's going to feel like that.
Exactly.
So you're letting this club get way back here. Now in reality, when we put energy into that, is that even, I don't know if it's possible unless you do some goofy tilting.
Yeah, but it's going to feel way different to you in terms of how your hands and arms are working.
Yes.
Because for many, like you say, they're pushing or driving that club out. They're driving their hands out. So if they can feel like, if anything, the hands and arms are working almost back and into them.
Yeah, so in reality, there will be a feeling of the arms back,
whoa,
the club back.
Yeah.
And what that feels like to a lot of people when I help them, it actually feels like their arms are going up and back.
Yeah, as they're falling down.
Yeah, so it's like body's going down, arms feel like they're going up and back, but you can see that didn't.
Yeah.
I'm pulling it up and back. But when I fall down, that looks like it came down.
Yeah.
And that also helps my right arm my right wrist works back into extension. That feeling makes my right arm adduct and move out in front of me a little bit more, or it can.
Now this method we're laying out here it's nothing new. You think of Ben Hogan's pane of glass. You worked with McLean for a while, slotting the downswing. I mean, you have guys that come a little more in, up and over, but they get in that channel. You have guys that go more out and away. They get back in that channel. So the channel really never changes that much for the tour players coming down. So how we get there, though, that's the key. And for many of you going and just understanding this, just feeling this, knowing that, okay, there's kind of that channel there. I'm just trying to get back in there instead of pushing or throwing everything out, because most of you watching are probably getting it too out, is my guess.
Most are too out, and then the players that are fairly good, that struggle with blocks and hooks, a lot of times they're getting it dumped under, so the feeling that they might have, I don't really like to have them ever feel like they're making the club head move out, but I would love them to feel like they're making their body flex down and open and stay stacked up. That's going to move the whole system more out, rather than tilting like this and getting it trapped behind them.
Yeah.
So now that helped move everything out.
So a thought that I like that kind of goes with that is that your hands, if you go back up to kind of left arm parallel, your hands are working kind of towards the ball, but with your pivot, not just driving the hands, but they're working together with everything. And chances are, if you have the right wrist conditions, now the club and shaft are lined up in a nice spot where the hands are working towards the golf ball, not pushing them way out away, towards, away from the ball, which we see so often.
Yeah.
So, okay, so a couple exercises they can do If you don't have a channel at home, and you can just set this up, I mean, that's another good way they could do it. Don't put it so close to the backswing where you're going to hit it, or the downswing where you're going to hit it. Make sure it's far enough away. It's just a guide. It's a reference. But you could do a lot of little half swings from there, or go down to delivery. Why don't you show them one where you go to delivery? So you make a backswing, you kind of drop in, check it, say, okay, how's that look? Look at his face angle. Is even the leading edge is matched up with his spine. Shaft is behind his hands there. Club's a little behind his hands.
Yep.
So you could do a couple of those and then chip one from there. So that's a nice little exercise you can do. A real simple one too is just put a bucket outside your golf ball and don't hit it. Because for so many at home, you'd bash that bucket right there.
Yeah,
And
I actually put it just slightly in the way so they can't.
Yeah.
You don't make your normal backswing. You actually will start with your backswing behind this, like this.
Kind of out on top of it.
Boom, and get into the ball without whacking
And it
the
even
bucket.
has a little 11 o'clock plane built in because of the bucket
Yeah,
is on
buckets.
angle.
Yeah, exactly.
So why don't you hit one from there for him? You
Okay.
could probably just full swing it from there, right?
Oh, sure. Get my hands out of the way.
So that's one of the easiest drills you can do at home, is just put something outside the golf ball, because you can't be in the 10-11 slot if you whack that object, whatever's outside the golf ball.
Yeah, then
it's
you
just
you
not
got
possible.
Yeah, you got to the wrong side.
There you go. So that's a real simple drill too. If we can just kind of get in that channel, for many of you throughout the swing, the backswing, yes, it doesn't always matter, but for a lot of you at home, it can set the stage.
Yeah.
If we get too in and around and get out of bends and things like that.
Your backswing can make or break you if you do certain things incorrectly.
Yeah.
But if you're within there are some parameters. You know, you can do some goofy things or some things that look unorthodox, as long as they don't throw off a few other things. There's a few elements that must be. If your body inclinations are getting thrown off by what you do in your backswing, you're going to struggle.
Yeah.
If you make an unorthodox backswing, but yet your body still moves okay, you'll probably figure it out.
So try to find that 10 to 11 channel. You guys probably want some individual help, so make sure you check out our online academy where we can help you on a one-on-one basis. Make sure that the way you're finding this channel works for you, because everyone's going to be different, right? So
For sure.
this whole process, our academy, is not just laying out our philosophy and how to go step by step. It's that one-on-one time that you guys need to kind of pinpoint what to work on. So make sure you guys like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.
You ready?
Yeah. Because as a